Here we go. We're live. Welcome back. Today we have our favorite fairy garden mother, Robyn Weeda.
Wow, Vito, thank you. I definitely am most people's favorite fairy garden mother. It's definitely a fun job to have these days.
Well, it's better than real estate these days. I feel like we're getting all destroyed here.
Well, I think you guys are in a bit of a yo-yoing.
Yeah.
So wishing you all the best of luck for that little yo-yo or cha-cha, as we would say. Um, I think just with the last 3 years and everything just changing and inflation and something had to change, you know?
I have two sellers that I'm working with right now, and they're both kind of like not saying it, but they're kind of panicking a little bit. And I've seen it. I've seen this multiple times because I've been in the business for so long. It's just that's why you want somebody that's established and that knows how to walk through all the turmoil and be there and be patient and confident and guide you through the entire process. And
Right.
you know, I know my sellers don't want to hear this, but it's actually a welcome reprieve for me because now I can have buyers come back into the market and feel like they don't have to get beat up 17 times, right?
I bet people feel a little bit beaten, to your point.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard.
And, there's some people that, because of the stock market, whether they work at Netflix or Facebook or wherever, they're out of the market because their down payments went away. And that's part of life. And, things will come back. Um, I have been waiting for this to happen. I don't think what we're going to see here is a massive storm like what we saw in 2007, 2008. I think it'll be a little faster because we still have people with a lot of equity in their homes, but people are going to have to tighten their belts a little bit.
Yeah. Hopefully the markets will steady and get back to the good life. But yes, in the meantime, I mean, we are in the beautiful valley and we are in the midst of summer. The
So
temperatures we are feeling here right now, I mean, right now I think it's about 83.
it's perfect.
It is perfect, but a lot of people turn their air conditioning on. So we're talking about tips on how to be more drought ready. You know, wait till 85, wait till 86, have
Mhm.
fans installed so that you're not using the air conditioning. Me, the fellow South African, I like sitting in this heat. I find it fabulous.
I after it gets to 84, 85, that's when it starts getting a little uncomfortable for me. But I've lived in the desert, I've lived in the jungle, I've lived all over the place, and my wife always makes fun of me because I start complaining, but that's what I do because I'm a Marine.
You know, I would say instead of complaining, I would call it critical questioning.
Yep.
Just having a conversation with yourself.
But you're right. I mean, I love having the windows open at night, and it's funny that AC just clicked on because somebody turned it on upstairs. I have the thermostat upstairs, and heat rises, so I think it's probably I need to go fix that because people like to push it down and make it cool.
Well, there's a couple of things and tips that we're going to talk about today. I
Excellent.
do
Let's get
have a
into it.
slide deck, so please, if you can, let us share that as well, because they basically are talking points. Over and above being a fairy garden mother, um, I'm really concerned about the planet. I'm concerned about what are we doing for the planet, and instead of having 150 million people doing 150%, let's try and get like a couple of billion doing 30-40%,
Or even 2 or 3%.
or
Get
even two
used to it.
3%. I mean, it's so important to really contribute to the planet, and there's some easy stuff to do to really get yourself drought ready. I've just been certified as a green gardener from Santa Clara. So I've been taught how to think differently about planting and your garden, and part of my passion. So here we are again having a chat.
Excellent.
So definitely. Oh, what happened?
I don't know.
Oh,
are you in control?
I am, but I believe I've got the wrong slide deck. So please let's remove that one.
No, it says, "Are you drought ready?" Is that the right one?
It's one of them. Coming from the corporate world, it's like you have many different versions.
Sure.
But it's all good. So we'll just continue talking and, go on to the next conversation.
Do you want me to pop this off? Oh, we lost her. Okay, I'm going to do a song and dance. So if you're watching this, I'm going to pitch this a couple times over the next couple months. I like to do give back, right? I do my bikes at the end of the year. We adopt to the park. We like to have all sorts of things going back with giving back to our community. And that's a lot of why we're doing these videos. Sorry, you popped off for a minute. So I'm just doing a real quick commercial.
No worries. I think it's all good. Go ahead.
I got volunteered recently for a new project called Beautiful Day, and it's been around for a long time. And there's a bunch of people that get together, like thousands of people get together, and we do good for the community. And I think there's 30 different projects this year. I've been assigned to one. It's a food bank downtown San Jose. We have painting and landscaping, and we're building a shed and some storage for the community. And we're moving a mural, and I'm really excited for this. Because this is how I feel like I give back. And when we do the bikes, that's my Christmas. But this is throughout the year. I'm doing it 4 times this year. I think it's October 3rd and 4th or something like that. I'm going to have more details about it, but I just wanted to pitch that out to everybody that's watching, because if you're interested, you should let me know.
Connecting with the community, I think, is very important. And both you and I are extreme extroverts. So having that message and sharing that message on how to do stuff, I think, is so important. So here we are again, part 2. Let's try that slide deck.
Here we go. You're on.
Because it really is going to just take us through some key talking points. Really want to talk about some facts. I mean, I was just preparing for this conversation. I'm like, wow, we're using a lot of water. We're going to talk very much about drought readiness today, but our next conversation, we're going to talk about how to be more sustainable, because there's things to be drought ready, but then there's other things you can do on top of that to be more sustainable, where you're actually capturing carbon. So you actually then really getting involved in the planet stuff. And you do good with your community. I've volunteered a farm called Animal Assisted Happiness in Sunnyvale. So I manage their gardens, and it just is very good for the heart to help other people. So we're going to cover some facts. We're going to talk about what to do inside versus outside, and then how to get drought ready. We are in quite a big drought here in California. We use over 85 gallons of water per day per person.
Wow.
So just that acknowledgement of 85 gallons of water. What the hell are the people doing with 85 gallons of water per person? I mean, seriously, are they filling up a swimming pool for themselves?
Well, in my house, I can attest that we double flush.
Dude,
Way
tip
too
number
much
1, do not double flush. Have a cleaning agent. But yeah, I mean, these are some simple things that we can do. They want us to reduce our usage down to about 10 gallons or 50 gallons, 42 gallons a day. That's by next year. We need to drop to 42 gallons a day. So we have to halve that.
Half what we're using right now.
Right. And then, of course, of that, outdoor is using 30% of your household use. So there's some stuff that you're going to need to do that are human related. and some stuff you can do that are around your property and really improving it. So just wanted to share, what some people are using it for. I mean, there's a lot of toilet flushing. There's a lot of showering, including my daughter who showers for, I would say, about half an hour. But there are some things that you can do, like I'm bringing buckets now for her to, if she's showering, put the bucket under the shower and fill the bucket up so that you can then go water your plants.
That's brilliant.
Right?
Well, okay, so how about the shampoo and the soap? Is that okay?
Well, you're going to need to make sure that you've got proper when it's draining. But as it's warming up, I mean, your person standing next to the shower, you just stand back and have that shower go into while it's warming up, or while you're wetting your sponge. Maybe
Right.
when you rinse your suds, maybe you don't put it all in the bucket unless you're using organic.
Right.
But I bet I could fill a couple of buckets with my daughter in the shower.
Well, yeah, we all have teens these days, and I could totally understand. It's probably where we lose most of our water because we're quite, drought friendly out front. But we have 3 teenagers, and that's crazy how
Lots
much.
of work.
Yeah.
Lots of work. Yeah. So also some other idea, low flow faucets. I know some people like that big shower head. I get it. But maybe there's other ways to do it. Turn off your water when you're brushing your teeth. So that bathroom is an opportunity to set some new rules and guidelines for the drought readiness. Reuse your sink water. I tried to actually get some brown water from my house, and unfortunately I live in an iClus, so everything's in the concrete, and it's going to be hard. But get a rain barrel when we do have rain.
Yeah.
So those are just some inside tips just to get the brain and the appetite wet. And now we're just going to go straight into the outside ones. When you look at all the different areas of your garden, there's 3 big areas that you need to look at. One is definitely your soil. So depending on the type of soil that you have, you need to make sure that your irrigation is set up specifically for that. So if it's very clayey and it creates water, then you reduce the amount of time that it's spending watering. It is so important to understand your soil. Irrigation is huge. They're coming out with new guidelines on what irrigation to bring. Definitely converting to drip irrigation is very important. So I believe there's a whole bunch of new incentives and stuff coming out from our different cities to switch to irrigation. I've got a couple of things about the rebates. Definitely use sprinklers that water with larger drops instead of misting. It evaporates. Just a simple change in how you use your sprinklers. Definitely direct your downspout runoff to trees and shrubs. So instead of it going into a drain, just switch it to go into a shrub or a tree.
Not to brag or anything, but I'll brag.
Go on.
I have the air conditioning runoff. You know how you have the air conditioning, you have the water that pours out afterwards. I have a maple tree that I water with that, and it works out really well because when it rains, it feeds it during the winter, and then in the summer, I have that condensation line drip and feed my maple tree out front, and it's I mean, I never think about it, but it's nice to have it there, and it's lush. It looks like I water it every day, but I don't, and it's really healthy.
But that's the positive of having the aircon on. The maple gets watered.
Yeah.
Win-win for everyone.
What would be great is if we can turn our showers and divert them into a water bucket or something like
right.
And then have a solar pump pull from that and drip water throughout your garden.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, in Florida,
that's a different kind of technology. They're making that kind of technology nowadays.
In Florida, and I cannot attest to this truth or not. I heard this from somebody else, so this is rumor. But in Florida, it's illegal to capture your rainwater.
Why?
I don't I mean, it rains there all the time, right? And I think it's
But
part of the
still,
marshlands and all that. So it's a different environment that we
it's a
live in over
different
there.
setup. It definitely is. I mean, California is just so dry. You can see driving on those roads now. All the hills are just that golden color, no longer green.
Nope. And we're having homeless encampment fires more and more.
Right.
We already had our first major fire in Southern California this last week. We're expected this to be a really, really bad year because we just don't have the rains. We don't have the reservoir. We don't have the aquifers filled. And this is something, while we could do stuff on an industrial level, it's up to the 33 or 35 million people that live in California and the states that are around there, because it's not just California. But absolutely, we all have to do that little tiny bit to save those drips of water.
That we do. I mean, water is just such a speciality, because the less water you use, the more you're saving for other things. I'm sorry, everyone has a lawn. I say, big challenge out to everyone: remove your lawn. I remove my lawn in the front. I'm doing a couple of jobs where we're removing lawn. We're putting in more native plants, mulch, just to really reduce your watering significantly. It's a huge change that you can make, and it would change up your backyard as well, or your front yard, removing and actually make it more useful, I would say. I mean, you could take some of that lawn and convert it into like a bocce ball court, or you could take some of that lawn and make it into a patio.
I like
Or an
your
edible
idea
garden.
of your garden where you have the planters out front. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And what I do is I mix edible stuff in between the drought tolerant plants. So at least then, I mean, now they're established plants. So I water once a week if that's on the established plants, and then I just bucket water or I spray water some of the vegetables. So changing your mindset around plants, I've got 20% of my garden is for annuals. The rest is all perennials and natives and South African plants, of course. Ideal state is to get your most native plants as possible, but other ways is to bring in some other plants that are from South Africa. South African plants are just really making a big show these days. Everyone loves the protea or the pincushion or the, what is it now called? Just left my mind. The bird of paradise.
Yes.
The beautiful bird of paradise. Isn't it just so gorgeous?
It
so
is.
Those are plants that you can put, and then you create smaller planting spaces. So a garden that I'm going to start working on tomorrow, actually, we're going to be reducing a lot of the lawn, which is going to be fantastic. So that's number one thing you can do. Number two is mulch. So I'm sitting this way in my garden today so that we can share the mulching.
I'm going to put you to front and center. I'm going to try at least.
Let's see how that looks. So what we've done is we've mulched about 3 inches of the backyard, and we've put drip irrigation underneath that. You can see some bits peeking up top there, but we've created an accent area with cortine steel containers, and it's really minimizing on your amount of plants and watering. Here's another plant back behind me over here. So the big white one, that's called an elephant bush. It absorbs twice as much carbon dioxide. And that just grows. It's fantastic. So you're cleaning air while you're enjoying your plant, and you can eat it as well. So that's why I was turning on this way of the garden, just to show some of those ideas on how to get more drought tolerant. Definitely use containers for accents, and then definitely think about how you can group plants with similar watering needs. So I know some plants, if it's vegetables and stuff, keep them in a certain area where they get their own watering needs. And then the mulching, I think, is so important. I personally like the modern darker colors, but mulching at least 3 inches is absolutely key at the moment to help conserve water and keep that water in the ground. Boom, boom, boom. These are the new watering regulations for Santa Clara County. So we all need to reduce to 2 days a week for watering. And based on the number in your address, it's which day you can water. And then you need to plan your irrigation before 9 a.m. and after 6 p.m. So usually we do recommend to water at about 5 a.m. in the morning. So really make sure that you're going to 5 a.m. or 6, just so that it's before the sun rises, so that it can give a good watering and get absorbed into the ground, because the minute the sun rises, it's going to start evaporating with the water. But yeah, those are some of the restrictions they're starting to implement with us, which is making it a lot harder. But we are in Silicon Valley. We have these great gadgets now, where you have an app with where you can program your different parts of your garden and say these are very drought tolerant, and it will then water maybe once every 2 weeks or once every 3 weeks. So really see how you can set up your gardening space so that you can water it in specific areas, and twice a week is when you can do that outdoor irrigation and watering.
And you only water for a few minutes, right? Like 5 minutes or 3 minutes or so?
When you're doing it early in the morning, you can go up to 10 if you are reducing down. But that should be with drip. So it's releasing a lot less water, but it's releasing it over a period of time.
Yeah, it's crazy to see. We see a lot of houses and they're like, I'm done not doing anything with my grass, and they're just dying away. But I think that's not really good for the environment either. You should have it tilled and use some drought tolerant plants and manicure that and use it. I'm hearing everywhere that we're having food shortages.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a perfect time to get your garden in order and grow some food. And it takes a while to figure out what works best in your garden, in your soil, in your area. But you can grow and reuse that water in your shower.
You can, yes, you can definitely grow your own food, and it does get easier if you are one of those black thumbs but still want to do it, or even just need some coaching. There's garden consultants, which I am, over and above being your best fairy garden mother. But there's garden consultants that actually do grow-alongs. So they start off each season with what are the things that you're growing, you're in this season. And there's a lady actually here in California that does it. So I would recommend that you sign up for that. So we'd do a whole coaching package, go, okay, do that course and do a grow along for a season. Really maintain your garden, because every season it's going to change and evolve depending on the amount of time that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you realize how therapeutic it is and how amazing fresh salad is out of the garden, oh my golly. I mean, seriously, it is. Have you ever had fresh lettuce out of the garden, Vito?
Mm-hmm.
It is spectacular, isn't it?
We grew it for a few years, and then we kind of went off on some other tangent and started growing chickens. But there's nothing better than fresh vegetables you pick, and watching it grow. It's that part of that satisfaction of living, right?
Right. And on my little container here, I've got a little salad garden, which is, and let me grab it. So what I've been planting I need to get remote headphones. What I've been planting up is these kind of salad herb gardens. So we've got spinach, we've got basil, we've got calendula, which actually makes a really great tea. But I've been harvesting off my basil already and my spinach. And then you can just have one with salad and have like 5 different salads in there and harvesting off that. I mean, it's just fantastic.
How many harvests can you get on that little planter, and how many people can you feed off of that?
I would say they say usually you plan 1 lettuce for a person for a week of eating.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be over a certain amount of time because you can harvest back the leaves.
Right. And regrow it until it bolts, right? Once it starts to bolt, then you have to.
Correct. But hopefully you grow all these beautiful plants that eventually have so many leaves, like the spinaches I'm growing. It's a very hot season now, so I'm growing New Zealand spinach, which is really, really good, and it survives in the heat. So that's always good as well. There's some great veggies to grow. So yes, we've got people that can help with all those kind of things around doing a planting plan. Depending on how you want to be involved, if you just want to enjoy the harvests, somebody can come and do it all for you. Or we can actually have people come and do a planting and set you up for the season. So they would bring in the veggies, they would plant it all, get it all set up, and all you'd need to do is harvest.
And you do the soil analysis, and then you can do the harvesting yourself, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's part of being a wonderful fairy garden mother, because it's really helping with all those different aspects of your outdoor space.
Right.
It's not just the one piece of removing the lawn or changing the irrigation. It's really looking at each of your properties very individually and saying, what are you trying to achieve from this? And how do you want to make it more useful? One of my friends wanted a reading nook. I will show photos next time.
That's awesome.
A reading nook. We created the most amazing reading nook in the back part of the yard.
My daughter will flip over that. That is really cool. She's such a bookworm. That would be so perfect. It would get her out of her room too.
Outside in the shade. Use it.
So can I ask a question? What's your thoughts on hydroponics?
You can definitely do it. There's different units now, which I want to start experimenting with. A really good way of growing food. I've got a neighbor down the road that's growing lettuce and strawberries. It's just a different type of growing method. Right. I think we have got so much choice out here right now to grow up vertical containers. I've been planting vertical containers as well, so that the bloody rats or squirrels don't get the plants. But yes, it's very, very easy to do.
Yeah, I have a friend who did it with the 4-inch drain pipes.
Yeah.
And he had, I want to say 10 courses all the way up, kind of like a big ladder. And he had vegetables for months. I think he made too much. That's the problem. So,
well, then you get back into the whole community and sharing, caring. I mean, we could put out vegetables if we had more than enough.
Right. It's just
that is huge.
Yeah,
to have healthy vegetables.
For me, it would be like, how do you get the time to do something like that? Because I'm the kind of guy that would want to do that and figure out how to make the pump and the siphon and level it out right. And of course, I'd get frustrated and have to go to Lowe's or Home Depot 20 times because I'm a homeowner.
Well, that's part of doing a project.
Yeah, it's kind of the fun part.
But then you get a garden consultant maybe involved and you work it out together. You know, sometimes it's fun to collaborate with people.
Absolutely.
And use that time and go, okay, how do we set it up and source some of that stuff? Because a lot of it is available. You get these stunning big white units that you can just plug it into.
Yeah, I've seen them on YouTube. They're really incredible things. And those are movable. Those are great. The ones that I'm talking about, you have to actually bolt into the wall. And the reason why I would use that one, because I have a big side yard that is facing the sun for a long time, a big part of the year, of the day. And I want to say 20 feet of just wall that's just sitting there. So one, it would be growing plants, growing food.
Mm-hmm.
Two, it would be far enough away that would create an insulation and therefore keep my house a little cooler. Because if you have it that far away from the house, you don't have the direct sunlight on the
Right.
wall, you have it on the plants, and you're reusing what you have, right? And
right, it's making that space usable.
Yeah,
because right, just sitting there, you could rather get food and reduce your bill.
Yeah. So
Weeda,
but
summer project with
I
the
know,
kids.
because I'm not working 10,
No,
12 hour
no,
days.
you're not busy at all. You're not busy at all.
So just so you know, chickens, although they're fun and they're great and their eggs are so much better than store-bought, don't ever believe that having your own chickens costs you less, ever.
Yes, I think there is a lot more benefit to having a chicken. Personally, my husband said if I bring a chicken into this household, divorce. Divorce. There's not even a discussion of the front yard will be okay or nothing, no chickens. But yes, I think they bring a lot of calmness to a person. I think they help with anxiety and are lovely animals. At the farm, I love seeing Lavender, the gray chicken that runs over and waits for you to sit down and jumps on your lap. Those eggs are amazing. So yes, it does cost. It does. But look at all the happiness you've got. It brings you joy.
Yeah. In the beginning, I don't know if I told you this, but in the beginning of COVID, when we were shut down, we couldn't go anywhere. We had a tree house, and the girls were old enough that they stopped using it. My son hadn't used it in years. So I'm like, hey, what do you think about getting chickens? And then they went into common core mode and made this big presentation, and this is how much money we're going to save if we have chickens. I'm like,
That's
no.
awesome.
But then
That's
they built the
awesome.
blueprints, and then they built it. I mean, I was there making sure they used the power saw, but not chopping off their fingers, that kind of thing. And they had all the safety equipment. But I had them build it so they have the idea. They didn't do everything, and their blueprints weren't perfect, so I had to kind of make it more realistic. And so we built this chicken coop out of their blueprints, and for 3 months after we had them, it was such a great novel thing. And then that was 2 years ago, and they're like, I don't care about the chickens.
And do the chickens ever see them? And who's doing the tasks? You're muted. You muted?
I'm sorry. We make them clean out the coop and the poop and put the new lining in there. We make them change the water. I do the food because it's a little heavy, and then Jill will open it up and close down the coop in the mornings and in the evenings. So we all kind of tend to it a little bit.
I think it's a great idea. I would love to have 2 or 3 myself, but obviously I want to stay married, so I will not be getting any chickens. I can visit chickens though.
Yeah, you can come over anytime. What I want to do is take their manure and compost it, and just have it like a community compost, right?
I always thought that was so easy.
Right.
I believe now on the farm, because we're on government federal property, we can't use the manure for composting, so it has to go off the property. My friend in the Santa Cruz Mountains loves her chickens, and the best for tomatoes. Very, very good compost, but you have to get it to that certain temperature to make sure that it breaks down. But yeah, that is huge.
So I had a compost pile. I actually I had extra wood, lumber from a deck that I took apart, and I reused it because, want to be responsible and upcycle. So I reused that and made a big box and covered it. And I had 3 sections, and I'd move it and had great compost for a really long time. And then the neighbors started complaining about black widows. So I got rid of that. Now I'm going to move it to the other side, right where the chickens are, and I have like a gate. It's like this little. It's almost like a playpen, but for dogs, for animals.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that. Put it up on top of a 2x4 stand, so there's 2 feet underneath it. Sorry, so there's like 2 feet underneath it and on top, and then have it so that it just falls through, and as it composts, it'll drop down below, and then I'll just shovel it and put it into the garden. But that's my
Wow.
master plan.
I've got a tumbler, so it's standing, and then I've got a sub pod, so it actually sinks into the bed.
Oh yeah, I've seen
So
those. Those are great.
amazing. I mean, it's fertilizing my plants unbelievably well, and they're just really, really effective and fun.
Right, you have little pots of smell everywhere. That's the thing
Yeah.
about
Well, it doesn't
compost.
really smell in the container.
Right, because you have to keep it dryish, and I mean it'll get moist, but you have to keep it dry. And you have to put dry on it, so you have to have like
Right.
straw or newspaper or some kind of something to layer it, and then once the worms get into it, then it turns into just gold.
Heaven.
Heaven.
Yeah, and then you make worm tea, which is liquid gold, because you put that on your vegetables as you got them in the garden. Whoa,
Right.
they're going to be on power, you know.
I saw a TikTok the other day where you could take you can brew tea with your banana peels, and the potassium that comes out, you put that over your plants, and it just lights up, and you have so many more vegetables.
There's so many ideas of just reusing stuff instead of throwing it away. I think we are extremely lucky to be in a state and an area in the world where we have great county programs. I mean, they reuse and upcycle and do a bunch of stuff with everything that we're sending in. But yeah, reduce your waste as much as possible. There's some great things to do.
Yeah. In Fremont, I want to say it's Fremont or Hayward, somewhere up there, the city institutes composting. So they'll take your grass clippings and all your foliage or whatever, everything that's compostable, and they'll take it away and they'll put it into a compost pile, and then they'll once a month or once a quarter they'll bring back a bag of composted soil for you. And
we can collect free ones in Sunnyvale.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. We can collect at our smart. So I think each city offers this kind of thing. So definitely investigate with your city. I mean, you could get free compost.
I don't think San Jose does anything like that. They're just too big. But they do have a lot of programs that do outreach, and I've been plugged into them because I adopted a park and I do a lot of outreach with the city. And they have stuff for trees, they have stuff for composting, they have stuff for recycling. So, and if you're watching this and you're a teacher or you have a community and you just want people to be educated, I can get you connected with these people in San Jose that will teach you everything you want to know about recycling and
awesome,
composting, etc. So yeah,
should do a little tour around there. Imagine you having a tour around the facility, Vito.
Yeah, you could do that. That would be kind of a good video. Yeah, maybe we'll make
some fun stuff. Exactly. Yeah. So I put up a slide on some of the rebates that you can get. Definitely in Santa Clara County, there are rebates available. I've heard the process is pretty laborious. I'm starting to go into a process on this. So definitely look at the rebate programs that they offer. So it's through Valley Water. Look up Valley Water landscape rebates. So basically, they could pay you up to $3 per square foot to convert your landscape.
And this is with the city of Santa Clara.
Yes.
And San Jose has something like that as well.
Yeah.
And
they definitely do.
We had an audit done years ago and really pissed me off. The guy came through and he made sure everything was low flow, etc. That was fine. And he goes out to a lawn, which I hadn't used in a couple years because, we were in a drought. And he turns the water on, and then there's a sprinkler head that popped, and all of a sudden it's just flooding. He goes, disqualified. Can't have it. Sorry, you have to reapply. So I was all pissed off.
Wow.
Yeah, that guy totally screwed us over.
So that is yet again having a garden team involved. It's important to check your watering, because that can happen.
Right.
That can happen. And we were at a job and we turned on the watering. We were doing an assessment there before we even started working there. And there was water everywhere. And the watering would go at 5 o'clock in the morning, so no one would see it. So they did nothing about it.
Right.
So yes, it's huge. But yes, I'm sure there's lots of hoops and things to go through. But yes, at least they're investing back into the community and saying, hey, we'll give you some money for these landscape rebates.
Right. So this is where we close in and get people to call you.
Right. Or email me or text me, or you can send a letter. You could do a bunch of stuff, how to get ready. So I know a lot of you have your maintenance teams. Please speak to your maintenance teams and say, hey, can we do a watering review? Can we add mulch? Definitely get that in play. So that can help. With a watering review, they would need to do an assessment of all the different zones, and they would recommend to go down to, they should be irrigation experts. They would recommend going down to drip lines for certain things, changing things, setting up proper units. If you're a techie, we could get you one of those fancy boxes and set it up on your phone. But if you want to do like a freshen up, really, you've got your pieces landscape, but you just want to do a test for the last year or 2 years, there's nothing being done, get some time with us. We do something called a freshen up plan. So what we do is sit down and have a consult and discuss what you're looking to do. A garden I'm working on at the moment, they did their landscaping 12 years ago. Exciting opportunity. They want something different. They've got family coming to visit. So what I would do is go in there, do a consult with them, discuss everything that they're looking at, and really say, okay, this is what the look is that you're looking for, and these are some of the recommended items. It starts off at your foundational items, which would include a watering review, a soil test, reviewing your plants. Then we'd create a mood board on your style and the plants that complement your style, as well as outdoor recommendations. We can do furniture or art, how to fancy up a bed, put in a beautiful piece of garden art. And then, of course, we do develop a planting plan using both native plants and drought-tolerant plants, depending on that style and request of the customer. So that's the freshen up plan. So at least it gives you an idea of what I need to do with proper measurements and everything, that you could then give it to your contractor or somebody that could do the work. I also have a partner that I work with that does an amazing job, and he's a licensed contractor, because here in California you need to be a licensed contractor to do watering stuff, to touch the ground, etc. So they would come in and do a lot of the work. I do a lot of the planting and sourcing of that. So yeah, we can definitely help you get ready. But if you're not wanting to call me, or really love your person that works in your garden, definitely get them to look at the watering and to either cap or close off zones. Capping is so easy, and then it just doesn't water a certain area. To Vito's one where he got busted, turn off that zone.
Right.
So that when he turns it on, it doesn't turn on. Definitely look at those kind of things, and then definitely add mulch. It is way better to have plants in the garden, and better yet to have edible plants. So yeah, we can definitely help with all those wonderful things.
I think it's really important that now that we're looking at what's going on, if everybody did it, it would be obviously so beneficial to the environment. But even if like 5% of the population did it, it would help just that much more, right? We were talking about 1% improvement over every day makes everybody better. And if we did that all together, we wouldn't have to worry about those
Right.
neighbors with the 3 foot high grass that's been completely ignored, right? So, but
Yeah, 3 foot high grass, but also neighbors that are growing their own food and sharing it with the community.
oh
I
yeah,
mean, those are such awesome opportunities to leverage and contribute to climate change.
right. And we need to get more local, right?
We definitely need to get more local, support smaller businesses. The community is very important. So hopefully next time I can chat with you, we're going to talk about some of the things that our city is doing around, climate change, but then also talking about what are you doing for climate change and what are some of the tips and tricks that we could implement really quickly and easily just to contribute to climate change.
Right. And, people have to understand, this is a long term game, right? You have to have this game in your head of what you can do now and what you're going to do in 20 years. Because in 20 years, if you do a little bit every year, it's not going to
Mm-hmm.
seem so expensive. It's not going to seem as daunting. It's not going to be as exhausting. And you'll see it just over time. And, there's nothing like being able to throw down tons of money and make it happen, but it doesn't have to be like that. You can do it a little bit at a time. And,
Yeah.
you look at my house, and if I took pictures over 20 years, and I had 20 slideshows of everything, or 20 pictures of everything, you'd see how I've improved the house. And I think it's a great house. I think it's a beautiful house. But when I bought it, it was original everything, single pane windows, original kitchen, original flooring, and all this stuff. And I just, over time, over 20 years, I improved it. And that's what you have to do, the same thing with your garden too, because you need to refresh and you need to
Yep.
replant. You need to keep on knowing what the new technologies are out there so you can save money over time, right?
Definitely. And to your point, it's a journey. It's not a one-time thing. And your outdoors are going to constantly evolve, just like your house is. So extending that and we are living in one of the most beautiful parts of the world, with the most amazing temperatures. Extend that outdoor.
Yeah, we should be outdoor more often. I should
Yes,
be
we should.
outdoor more often for sure.
Well, Vito, we're going to get your recording studio moved outside if I have my way.
Good luck. I don't have really good bandwidth out there, so I'd have to connect through wire. I'm not a big fan of that.
We'll sort that out for you. It's important to be outdoors and smelling the great air, hopefully before the fires come.
Oh yeah. Well, I do have an overhang just like you, and I could get a repeater out there. I don't think it'd be that difficult.
Yeah, it's just changing where we do our conversations. I need to remind myself every day I'm working outside. I don't need to work on my computer outside. I can sit outside and work on my computer, or I can have an outdoor office.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a dining table underneath my pergola, and I could do that.
Yeah.
So, well, hey, this has been awesome. Is this the last one, or do you have another slide?
Oh, this is it. This is
Okay.
this is it.
It's always great to see you, Robyn. Do you want me to use your Gmail email to tell people and how to contact you?
It will be Robyn at A Fresh Start Gardens.
That's right, Robyn
at afreshstartgardens.com.
Startgarden.com. And,
Yeah.
and 650-224. Do you want me to use that phone number?
2159. Yes, please do.
All right.
And then please, if you can share it to my Instagram and Facebook at A Fresh Start Gardens. It's I love sharing it with my community as well. I love having conversations with you and talking about our beautiful area that we live in.
This is so great. I love doing this. This is so enjoyable. So just so you know, the last time we did this was one of the first times I ever used StreamYard, which is the program I use to do this. And now we're live on 3 different platforms, on LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook. And after this, I'll get you all the links and everything and send it off to you so you can use it. And
fantastic. That's awesome.
So amazing.
I am using it. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Robyn, we'll see you. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. This is great.
Yes, you will. Have
right.
a great rest of your end of May and happy Memorial Day.
Oh, thank you. See you later.
Bye.